Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1031. Hello, it is Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, at the last place on earth. Today, it's Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the Engineer, and a little segment called Mike Rips Someone a New One. And
Mike's Daily Podcast.
You know, it's so funny when you're in a room with a bunch of
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Old white guys. Now I'm also a white guy, and I'm getting to that old white guy stage. They say things that don't explode, and you don't realize till some time goes by, and then it's like, what? Your conservative views have absolutely clouded your eyes. I live in the Bay Area, and I still hear some right-wing things.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Right-wing things that make the hair on the back of your neck rise. But whatever.
Mike's
It's a free country.
Daily
Meanwhile,
Podcast.
Trump is tearing up the Bush tree. That's a hoot. Wow, that was fun. Trump saying, hey, your brother started 9/11. Stuff like that. You're like, whoa, Trump is really, now he's making some liberals happy. That guy, it'll be amazing to see how long he Now, the polls are saying that the next primary, South Carolina, he's going to do well. And that Hillary is going to do well for a change. So we'll see how that goes. But now for the segment.
Mike rips someone a new one.
Because it would appear that in this world of America being the greatest country in the world, we're all completely happy with that thought. Living in America. America is a great place. It's got a lot of things bad about it. But do you not feel safe at night when you go to sleep? Okay, maybe you live in a crappy neighborhood and there's bombs going off all around you. That might not be so safe. But if you are feeling safe when you go to sleep, you can go, America's great. If not, then we can say that there's a lot of problems and that somebody else is walking in right now.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the shop supervisor. I don't like bombs.
Yeah, bombs kind of suck.
But I love Ryan Reynolds, and I'm glad that he's like a new action superstar person.
Yes, he is. He is. Now, a week ago, if you would have said Ryan Reynolds, I most certainly would not have said action movie star person. That was like the furthest thing he was. In my mind, Ryan Reynolds was the guy in... what the heck was he in? He was like in some really bad sort of teen... kind of sex romp type movies. He tried to be Green Lantern, and that failed. And then it was pretty much, okay, he tried to be Green Lantern, he'll never be a hero again because that movie did so badly. So then, wow, over the weekend, I kind of knew something was up when I talked to a couple people in there. Look who else just walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the Engineer. Ryan Reynolds is very hot. Do continue. Yeah. So some 20-somethings were telling me, yeah, we went and saw the first showing of Deadpool. And I said, really? And they're like, yeah, it was awesome. It was the best movie ever. And I saw there was this excitement going on about this movie. So much excitement! And then I realized maybe there's something to this. This is going to be a big thing. And sure enough, it was. The biggest opening for an R-rated movie ever. Ever. R-rated movie. So, and it looks like the Colossus is in it. It's an X-Men type thing, because the Fox owns it. And the Marvel Comics is where X-Men came from, but somehow Fox bought the whole X-Men characters thing. It's all confusing and really doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into it because I don't know that much about it.
Mike Matthews, Ryan Reynolds is hot.
Okay, all you guys seem to agree with Floyd. Hey, he's okay. All right, well, I guess what my point is that Antonin Scalia died. And he was... it's interesting because I watched a bunch of interviews with him. He was on C-SPAN about a year ago. And I really had paid no attention to anything going on with the Supreme Court. This is back when the Supreme Court was really boring. And then all of a sudden last year, bam, they said Obamacare is okay. We're not going to get rid of it. And bam, the Supreme Court said gays can get married. And of course, Antonin Scalia, he wanted Obamacare repealed. He wanted that gays never get married. He, very conservative. When he talked, if you watch interviews with him, he's kind of like, well, this is how I feel, and everything I think is completely correct. I don't know. That's the vibe I got off of him. I'm not a big fan of lawyers to begin with. And then when you put that kind of attitude, that superiority complex, hey, he's on the Supreme Court, he can have a superiority complex. Well, I just was not a fan. I did not wish death upon him. I'm sure the quails he was shooting wished death upon him, but apparently that's what happened. After he went shooting quail, he died. And what's weird, if you listen to the stories, he apparently was fine. He was absolutely fine the night before. In fact, the odd thing, the kind of ironic thing, is he told the guy who runs the resort, I think it was the owner, he said, Antonin Scalia said to him, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to take a long, long sleep, is what he said. And he was right. That is a long sleep, Antonin. True to your word. And then the family said, nope, we're not going to do an autopsy. We're not going to investigate this. Which people that are ultra-right-wing are going to go, oh, Obama did it. Obama killed him. I know this is going to happen. They're going to be people like, well, they should have done a test. That's kind of weird. He was 79. Let's see. What is it with, I don't know. The pictures of him, he looks maybe a little bit overweight. I don't know. But it's weird. He lived 10 years longer than David Bowie and Alan Rickman. So I don't know what that says. David Bowie, Glenn Frey, more liberal guys, they die in their 60s, and Antonin lives almost till 80. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg said Antonin was a close buddy of hers for 30 years, and she's going to miss him. Now this whole thing that you've heard nonstop about, is Obama going to replace Antonin with a liberal justice? And the Republican candidates are all saying, well, no, he needs to try and replace, got to replace that spot after he's out. When that sentence made no sense at all. I'm sorry. I'm also at work right now, and there's like a computer that's acting a little bit weird. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on it simultaneously. Wait, let me check something. Yeah. All right, everything's running good. Okay, good. I just checked something else. But Mike, you're here at Cafe anyway. Floyd, he has many things to keep an eye on. He's multitasking. Good job, Mike. I bow to your Buddha nature. Thank you, John Deere, the engineer. What was I going to say about that thing? Mike, you were talking about Antonin Scalia. And you were talking about his replacement in the Supreme Court. Oh, yes. That was right. That Obama wants to replace him now. Anyway, the whole thing I was trying to say is the Republicans are like, well, we want that spot to be a conservative. It doesn't matter. That spot was a conservative in there, and still gay marriage is now legal. My point being that what the Republicans want, it doesn't matter. Now, when Ruth Bader Ginsburg leaves us, which hopefully won't be for a long time, that will be, of course, that liberal spot will be then gone, and then things will be really interesting. And if you have a conservative there, well, then we're back to the Stone Age. And we'll be throwing rocks at each other, and wearing aprons and looking at our brand new refrigerators and cooking for John Hamm when he comes home. What? It's going to be the 50s is what I'm saying. Again. So that's basically the way the world is, and who was I ripping a new one on then? I guess probably idiots in general. So that's obviously not you, and I want to thank you for listening to the show today. And that's pretty much it. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, the podcast picture. Oh, I neglected to mention that I went to Benita with Basil the Boxer on Friday, and I got to see Pato Milo of the band Dead Hat Cat. You can hear the interview I did with Dead Hat Cat. I think that was 2013. It's in the interviews section of mikesdailypodcast.com. Listen to the interviews and the great music from Dead Hat Cat. I got to hear that they're performing new music. They're going to come out with a new album, and we chatted. Basil the Boxer was with me, and he and Pato. Basil got to hear the Dead Cat Hat play, which was a lot of fun. And Basil actually kind of chimed in and howled a little bit. It was fun with the dog and the dead cat hat and all that. Benicia is such a beautiful town. I love going to there. And I had a beer at Cullen's. It's a neat sort of steampunky kind of place in downtown Benicia, practically right. It is right on the water. Very nice place. Oh, but what was I trying to look up? Oh yeah. What I have discovered is that I need to go to another performance of Dead Cat Hat because they were practicing songs and also doing covers. They did a cover of Level 42's Something About You from the 80s and also Just What I Needed by the Cars. That was fun. Got to hear them play that. They sound so good. And like I said, they're working on new stuff. And we did talk for quite a while. And apparently, I didn't really realize this, but Pato had a mic going the whole time. So I will have to get a hold of that interesting recording of us chatting. And I have a picture right here of Benicia and the sunset in Benicia, and I will post that as the podcast picture from Friday. Oh, that was such a fun day. They actually do a rehearsal in Fairfield. So while I was in Fairfield, I had to have a beer at the Heretic Brewing Company. It was packed. I was like the oldest guy there. It was all 20-somethings, 30-somethings. It was so much fun. And people were coming up to me. I had Basil with me. They're like, is that a boxer? Oh, boxers are awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Heretic Brewing Company is in this weird sort of nondescript place. You're driving all through this commercial area, commercial businesses, but then there's these huge, like, big fields of grass in this industrial area. Just huge fields that haven't been mowed, and everything's green right now still in the Bay Area because of all the rain we've had. We're supposed to have some more rain. That was such a fun Friday. Oh, God! I would do that every day if I could. Go on little road trips like that. Oh, and I left early enough on Friday that I got to miss the traffic. I got a big smile on my face right now, Chely.
That's true, Mike Matthews. But you still don't have as nice a smile as Ryan Reynolds. Which you don't really see in Deadpool because he's got a mask on. It makes me so sad. I'm so forlorn.
That's okay. All right, next show we're going to have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. I certainly enjoyed doing the show today. I'm glad that you listened to it. It's President's Day, so I got a little bit political. But whatever. It is true, though. You get a bunch of white guys together and past a certain age, and I guess because I'm working in a building with a company that's pretty conservative to begin with. That kind of irritates me, though. Is if you're gonna, like, I will never be on a talk radio station ever because I am not, right-wing conservative person guy. I can't. I'm not all about like. I would never go on the air and complain about Obama for 3 hours. That's what conservative talk show hosts do. They're a bunch of whiny little babies, and I can't stand that. That just drives me nuts. Why are you whining about Obama? Why? In the end, he's done a lot of things that would make the conservative talk show host from 10 years ago go, yeah, okay, I'm cool with that. But instead, they got to nitpick everything. Oh, I heard these 3 white guys talking about the mosque. The whole thing about Obama going to the mosque and what a big symbolism there was about that. And I thought to myself, well, I went down to Panera and bought a bread bowl. What symbolism does that have? That I'm a big weenie that likes to eat clam chowder? What the hell? Does that... Who cares? Is what symbolism? What? In any case, he's making maybe a statement against Donald Trump and his whole gotta get all the Muslims out of America thing, which is ridiculous. And that will haunt Trump. And we will see in just a few short months what exactly happens. Okay, now I've completely unraveled. Let's just end the show here. And let's just say you're free to think whatever you want, and I'm free to think whatever I want. And even if what I'm thinking is lacking a few fuses and brain stem connections.
Mike Matthews, I think you should end this.
All right. Right now, it's ending now. The show.
Good.
So Deadpool's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it's all right.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!
Next show, it's Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster.
Mike Matthews, just walk away.
All right.